Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to my Friday sermon, as I affectionately call it these days. Just a moment. Okay, we're going to start, as we do, with the extra Tehillim, the Psalms, particularly for those who are unwell, and for the whole world, basically, in its situation, which is still precarious, even as, in some ways, things improve. If you want to sing this prayer book, it's page 510, number 121. Shalom alay seso einay el harim meyayin yavoy Ezri meyim adaynay oise shamayim boretz al yitei lamay draglecha Al Yalom Shoymecha Hinei Lo Yalom V'Lo Yishan Shoymei Yisroel Adonai Shoymerecha Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yaminecha Yoimam HaShemesh Lo Yakeka V'Yoreach B'Laylo Adonai yishmorecha, mikora yishmor es nafshecha. Adonai yishmor teischa v'vayecha, me'ata b'Adonai. A song of ascents, I lift my eyes up to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot stumble. The one who guards you does not slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian and your shade at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your life. He will guard your going and coming, now and forevermore. We start with prayers for those who are unwell, for Refuah Shlema, speedy recovery. Please add your own names that you wish to add at the appropriate point. Yes, yes, ben Miriam, yes, Chaim, bas Pesha. Yes, ben ich bin ben Miriam, yes, Chana bas Nechama, yes, Jonas ben Malch, yes, Esjechem bas Reis Bracha. Yes, Chaim Tobi Tobi ben Chayalei, yes, Avim Shag ben Sarah Devora. Yes, Moshe ben Fredo. Yes, Pesach ben Shane Gitz, yes, Shem ben Chan Liba. Yes, Moshe Gershon ben Feig, yes, Yeshua Chula ben Miriam. Yes, Shlomo ben Min, yes, Avram ben Sarah Peril. Yes, Mordechai David ben Cyril, yes, Yaakov ben Miriam, yes, Michal ben Henya. Yes, Jonas ben Sarah, yes, Casio ben Fredo, yes, Svi ben Sora. Yes, Pinchas ben Liba, yes, Yisro ben Rosachaya, yes, Baruch ben Tovachaya. Yes, Shmuel Reuven ben Nechameser, Shmuel Yehuda ben Kayla. Yes, Raphael Shona ben Chan, yes, Yirmiyahu ben Sarah, yes, Wolf ben Pauline. Yes, Yitzhak Isaac ben Yehudis Rachel, yes, Nasan ben Shoshana. Yes, Meir ben Malch, yes, Avi ben Tova, yes, Moshe ben Shifra Rachel. Yes, Malch bas Chan, yes, Chana bas Tavura, yes, Esther bas Rachel. Yes, Herschel bas Rachel, yes, Francis bas Herschel. Yes, Leah bas Kerem, yes, Yael bas Sarv, yes, Tavura bas Gittul. Yes, Simon Masha bas Yachva, Shlomis bas Chayliba. Yes, Tavura bas Sarah Leba. Yes, Gali bas Sarv, yes, Yudis bas Bela. Yes, Leah bas Ezel, yes, Barucha bas Feig, yes, Michal David ben Rivka. Yes, Shena bas Sarah. Vavoshe ben Nagin, yes, Taka Bavaram. Yes, Chalakosh Baruch Machin Leim, Lachin Rapaz, Lachazik, Machin Yosam. Vishlach Leim, Meir for Shem, Shloim, Chaginem. So Shechal Isor for Sefish for Zagov. Hash Tabaraz Mankarim ben Noima. Amen. We wish long life to those in our community with Yahrzeit this week. Tomorrow, actually the Yahrzeit for my late grandfather, who my son Eli is named after. Also, Jeff Abrams has Yahrzeit for his mother. Joseph Edry for his father. Teresa Levy for her mother. Gary Zeidner for his mother. On Sunday, Diane Atkins for her father. Barbara Lazarus for her father. And Yvonne Mason for her father. On Monday, Sally Kaplan and Melvin Rubin for their mother. David Charles for his father. Brian Sinclair for his father, husband of Edna Sinclair. And Melinda Van Prague for her father. On Tuesday, Janice Bloomfield for her sister. Rosalind Cooper for her mother. Blanche Perlmutter for her father. Millie Rose for her daughter. And Sarah Saltman for her father. On Wednesday, Pearl Dobrin for her sister. Lee Gabriel for his father. Philippa Joseph for her father, Karen Shaffron for her father, and Sharon Shepherd for her father. On Thursday, Adrian Frankel for his father, Andrea Rosenfeld for her father, and Arnold Tope for his father. On Friday, Dennis Grant for his sister, Paul Polling for his father, and Louise Ward for her mother. Wish everyone long life. Chaim Aruchim. El Marachamim, Sheikhin Bamaroim, Imam Tachas Kanvei Ashachina, B'Ma'alois Kedeshim Turim, Gezokim Ma'asiri, Mesi Shma, Shimnel Yes ben Isaac Mordechai, Yes Fega Rocha Bas Yaakov Alevi, Yes Chaim ben Avram, Yes Yechiel ben Reuven, Yes Avraham, Yes Malka Bas Simcha, Yes Avram Maya ben Shaya, Yes Yosef ben Avram, Yes Rivka Bas Yishai, Yes Armin Bas Shloima, Yes Meir Nissen ben Pinchas, Yes Rivka Bas Yishai, Yes David Elias ben Avram, Yes Mulchan Meir ben Michael, Yes Yitzchak ben Avraham, Yes, Leibas Moshe Shalchu Loilamam, Anabachimim, Asereim Beseisach and Bami Oilamim, Yitzhak ben Tzachayim Shishmas, and Nachlasam, Yinuch Misham Mishkavaisam, V'Neimar. Amen. We also wish Mazel Tov to Daniel Sachs on getting a place at Birmingham University, to Hannah and Ross Friedman on the birth of a baby boy, and to their parents, the grandparents, to Stacey Mark Berman, and to Jeanette and Robin Jacobs on their wedding anniversaries, and to Bernice Monti on the birthday. Wish everyone Mazel Tov and only Simchas. Also a reminder, please, that please do join us on Shabbos mornings, and please do book in via the system on the Shul website, just so we know to put enough chairs out and we can keep track of who's coming. If you're staying at home and you're being very careful, then I applaud that, and please continue. If you're going to the shops, if you're going to the cinema, you're going swimming, you're going to the golf club, you're going to the gym, you're going everywhere imaginable, and you're nervous about coming to Shul, I think we can safely say Shul is as safe, if not safer, than all those places. So I'm not urging anyone to leave the house who doesn't feel safe, but if you are going out and about, this is probably one of the safest places you can come. We are extremely COVID compliant, we're taking great care, and you can feel safe and comfortable coming to Shul if you're out and about anyway, and we look forward to welcoming those who feel comfortable. The parsha this week starts off, Reeh Anochi Nosei Lifnechem Hayom Bracha Uklala. I place before you a blessing and a curse. What's the blessing? Asher Tishmu, if you will listen to my mitzvot, basically, then you will be blessed. But more than that, forget the blessing and the curse. The parsha starts off, God says, I'm giving you a choice. You can choose a life of Judaism, of mitzvot, to follow my ways, which will be a blessing for you, or you can choose the alternative, which will not be a blessing for you. Besides the spiritual value of all these things, there's a much more obvious connection. And as I said, tomorrow is my late grandpa's yahrzeit. He's named after two of his grandparents. My son Eli is named after two grandparents. One is my grandpa, Sidney Bukin, Shimon Eliezer ben Isaac Mordechai, and Eli has exactly the same name. And also Yitzhak Laser, my wife's late Zayda. But my grandpa's yahrzeit is tomorrow. And it's always a very emotional thing that my son is named after my grandpa, who I was very close to, I knew very well, and grew up basically with regular visits and so on and so forth. One of my interviews for my podcast, which will go out probably next week or the week after, was with our very own Joel Markovich. Absolutely fascinating hearing Joel, of course, Malcolm Beverly's son, who they're very proud of, all the work he's done in the Jewish community in the States. And they said one of the things that got him involved in Jewish continuity and Jewish life and Jewish identity was that in his gap year, he went to Israel, and as part of their training, they were asked the question, who knows the names of their grandparents? And most people knew. What about your great-grandparents? Maybe they knew one or two of them. Your great-great-grandparents? Nobody even knew. Right? So who's going to remember you in 3-4 generations? So he said the challenge that was put to them was, do something that you'll be remembered for generations. When we choose life, choose the path of blessing, the path of mitzvot, and the path of Yiddishkeit, then we create a legacy for ourselves. Right? That legacy, yes, includes our grandchildren naming their children after the grandparents with their Jewish names, with their Yiddish names. Because if we have Jewish grandchildren, obviously, then that is what will happen. And in that way, our memories and our legacy is preserved. In a very simple way. I was reflecting on that myself. I said to my own grandfather that his name lives on through his great-grandson. That's a very special feeling. It's a very special thing. But besides for that, if we choose life, if we pass that on to the next generation, then that is our legacy and it is intact. And how many of us say that we got our Judaism from our parents, our grandparents, even our great-grandparents? So it's as simple as that. The legacy that we leave, the difference that we make, is our legacy. And what we do and what we show to the next generation lives on long after we've gone. And to be able to inspire the younger generation, to be able to say that you had a part in someone's engaging with their Judaism, whether your own child or someone else's child or even adult, is a very, very special merit to have indeed. It's a really special thing. Who wouldn't opt for it? So when we're faced with a choice of going down a Jewish path or not, surely it stands to reason, who wouldn't want to do more mitzvot? Who wouldn't want to do more Yiddishkeit? Who wouldn't want to carve out a legacy for themselves? And we do it for altruistic reasons, and we also do it for slightly more ulterior motives, which is that we do want to make a difference. We want to leave our name in this world, if you like, quite literally or figuratively. In today's parsha, it also talks about giving maaser, giving 10% of one's income. And it uses a very curious phrase. It says, aser ta'aser eis kol tu'asarecha. You should surely give 10% of your produce or of your income to charity. And the commentaries say, they make a little pun, a little play on words. Aser ta'aser, with a sin. Ta'aser means to surely give a tenth. But they rewrite it as ta'ashir, with a shin, which means to become rich. When you give to others, you become enriched. Right? That's counterintuitive. Why is tzedakah, why is charity such a big mitzvah, the Torah says, compared to all other mitzvot? The answer is because it's counterintuitive to give away your hard-earned dosh that you've worked hard for, your cash, or whatever. It's not in one's nature. And therefore it's a huge mitzvah. It's a big thing to do. But actually we miss the point. Because when you give to others, you give back to yourself. There's a beautiful idea that earlier on in the Torah, when it talks about giving to the Mishkan, originally to build the tabernacle, it uses the phrase, v'nasanu, they shall give. And the word v'natanu is a palindrome. Vav, nun, taf, nun, vav. V'natanu. Say the commentaries, because when you give to others, you give back to yourself as well. It enriches you. When you give to another person, when you help somebody else, when you share, when you give and you're kind and generous, actually you are enriching yourself as well. Right? Whether that's because you become a better person, whether it's because you see change, whether it's just the idea of giving as an altruistic value. When you give to others, you're really giving to yourself as well. So we miss the point when we think that giving to others somehow is a compromise. On the contrary, when we give to others, we give back to ourselves. When we choose the path of blessing, when we share with others, when we give to others, we do more Jewish things, we do more mitzvot, we do more chesed and kindness. We are only enriching our own lives and our own legacy. And if we want to be remembered by our great-grandchildren, getting involved in Jewish life is a very good way to do that, on so many levels. Whether it's helping others, whether it's attending regular daily davening. Yes, it makes an impact on people to know. My grandfather went to shul every morning. I remember that. When I was bar mitzvah, he showed me how to put on tefillin, and he took me to shul with him in Manchester. We were staying in Manchester at the time. And I knew that he would get up every morning, and no matter what, and he would go to shul. And that left a very strong impression upon me. He was also the gabbai of the Chevra Kadisha for many years. Again, it was a selfless job, but it's something he did. Tremendous merit, and it left an impression, I'm sure, on all of his grandchildren, along with all the other things that he did. Shimon Eliezer ben Isaac Mordechai, that in the merit of those who are named after him, should have an aliyah, his soul should be elevated. And we remember him, and we remember others as well. We want our own grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, to remember us. And the way to do that, very simply, is to do more Jewish things, to live a Jewish life, and to be somebody that they will remember, not just for our secular achievements, but for our religious achievements as well. So may we all merit that, whether it's our direct descendants or those that we encounter, our students, our friends, our colleagues, could be someone else's children, that we have a lasting impact on them, that, please God, we should all live till 120. When we get to 120, after that, our name should live on because of the good deeds that we do, particularly the Yiddishkeit that we engage with. I wish everyone Shabbat Shalom. May we all have nachas and give nachas to others for many years to come. May we all have a legacy, a lasting legacy in this world, not just here and now, but in the future as well, from all the good deeds we do and from the Yiddishkeit and the Judaism that we engage with at home, in the community, in our families, and beyond. I wish everyone a safe and restful Shabbat. Take care.